ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तः शान्तः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्ज सम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्वजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्त प्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्रीपार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयम्। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നിരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞാനെ കുമ്പീരേണ്ടാത്തോറും രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning. Okay, so we'll do a review thing of 70 and about 7 stanzas of 77. Gayatri, maybe you can do 70 and Harin, you can do 71.
इति त्वयि रसाकुलं रमितवल्लभे वल्लभाः कदापि पुरम् अम्बिका कमितुर् अम्बिका कानने समीत्य भवता समं निषेव्य दिव्योत्सवं सुखं शुशुपुर अग्रसीत् वज्रमं
Bra,
वज्रपं
bra
वज्र
sound. Brajapam.
व्रजपम् उग्र नागस्तदा
And the tune matter, see if you can, it's Samhun Mukamatol Mukair Abhihate Pitasmin Balat. That's the tune.
ओके समुन्मुखम् अतोल्मुखैर् अभिहिते अभिते अभिहित अभिहतेऽपि तस्मिन् बलात् अमुञ्चति भवत्पदे न्यपति पाहि पाहिति तैः तदा खलु पदा भवान् समुपगम्य स्पर्शतम् बभौ सचत बभौ सच निजां तनु समुपसाद्य वैद्यधरीं
Vaidhyadarim.
सुदर्शनधरत् प्रभो ननु सुदर्शनाख्योऽस्म्यहं मुनि न क्वचित् पाहसं त इह मा व्यधुर्वाहसं समर्पणात् अमलतां गतोऽस्मित्यसौ स्तुवन् निजपदं यजौ व्रजपदं च गोपा मुधा कदापि खलु सीरिना विहरति त्वयि श्रीजनैः जहार धनधानुगस् सकिल शङ्खचूडो बलाः अति अति अतिद्रुतम् अनुद्रुतस्त्वमथ मुक्तनारी जनम रुरोजित शिरोमणिं हलभृते च तस्या ददाः
The third line,
Mm,
Anudrutas Tamata. You said twa sound is a tha sound. Tamata
okay
Muktanari Jana. Okay.
okay अतिद्रुत अनुद्रुतस्त्वमत okay
No, Tamata. Tamata.
துருத்தஸ் அதுக்கப்புறம் துவா இருக்குல்ல
No, no, tha sound. That's the thing. Tamatha Muktanari Janam.
அப்ப வ இல்ல தமத்த
Yeah, it's not twa, it's ta. Tamata.
தமத்த ஓ நான் இங்க துவா எழுதியிருக்கேன் ஓகே தமத்த எழுதிடுறேன் ஓகே ஓகே दिनेषु च सुहृजनैः सह वनेषु लीलापरं मनोभव मनोहरं रसितवेणुनादामृतं भवन्तम् अमृतदृशाम् अमृतपारणादायिनं विचिन्त्य किमु नालपन विरहतापिता गोपिकाः भोजराजभृतकरस् भोजराजभृतकस्त्वत कश्चित्
Tune maru. Bojara Jabrita on the tune.
भोजराजभृतकस्त्वत कश्चित् कष्टदुष्टपथ दृष्टिररिष्टः निष्ठुरा कृतिर अपष्टु निनादः तिष्ठतेऽस्मि भवते वृषरूपी शाक्वरोत जगति धृतिहारी मूर्तिमेष बृहतिं प्रददानः पङ्क्तिमाशु परिगूर्ण्य पशूनां छन्दसां निधिमवाप भवन्तम् तुङ्गशृङ्गमुखमाश्वभियन्तं सङ्गृह्य रभसादभियन्तं तम तम
Yeah, go ahead.
भद्ररूप अपि दैत्यं भद्रं मर्दयन् अमदयः सुरलोकम् चित्रमध्य भगवन् वृषघातात् सुस्थिराजनिवृष वृषस्थितिर्
Urvyam.
उर्व्यां वर्धते च वृषचेतसि भूयान् मोद इत्यभिनुतोऽसि सुरैस्त्वम् औक्षकानि परिधावत दूरं वीक्ष्यताम्
Ayam.
अयमिहोक्षविभेदी इत्यमातः सितैः सह गोपैः गेह गेहगस्त्वमवातपुरेश. Shri Parabrahmane Nama. Did I make any other mistake?
The second line, first word, it's you said it, yeah, there's no ya sound. Itha mata.
எந்த இதுல சாரி
Last
நைன்த்லயும் டென்த்
stanza, the 10th line.
ஆ
Itha mata hasitai saha gopaihi.
ஓ இத்தமாதः சித்வைः सह गोपैः गेहगस्त्वमव वातपुरेश. Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Notes.
71. यद्येषु सर्वेष्वभिनावगेसि केसि सबोजेसि दृष्टबन्धुः त्वं सिन्धुजवाप्य इतीव मत्वा सम्प्राप्तवां सिन्धुजवादिरूढः कन्दर्वतामेष तदोभिवृक्षै नादैः समुत्तेजित सर्वलोहः भवद्विलोकावधि कोपावडिं प्रमर्त्य पाप पुनरापदत्वाम्.
Second line, like Gopavatin, just before the comma. Yeah.
Gopavatin प्रमर्त्य पाप पुनरापदत्वाम् दाक्षाद्विदान् प्रियस्तव दाक्ष्य एषः शिक्षे भवक्षो पुविनामवादम् असंज्ञं स्वेनाभिसख्यं तदितीव मोहात् प्रवञ्जयन्नस्य पुराञ्जलं प्राक् अमुंसशिक्षोभिदूरदूरं सम्मूर्च्छितोऽपि हयदिमूर्च्छितेन हृदोष्मणा कादिदुमातृदस्त्वाम्.
Second line, the second line just before the comma. Hyati murchit. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I'm getting bumped out early morning with internet. Sorry.
I'll continue, Rajesh.
Yeah.
प्रवञ्चयन्यस्य पुराञ्चलं त्राकुम् अमुंस शिक्षोभिदूरदूरं सम्मूर्च्छितोऽपि हैदिमूर्च्छितेन क्रोधोष्मण कादितुमात्कृतस्त्वाम्. त्वं वाहदण्डे कृतदिष्ट वाहादण्डं यदास्तस्य मुखे तदानीं तत्कृत्युरुत्त सवसनो कदासु सब्दी भवन् नप्यमैक्यमागात्.
And in the shwasano on the second line, you said a full sha. You said shabasana shwa. Shwasano gatasuhu.
Swasano kadasuhum sabdi bhavan napyamaikya mahad alamba matrena pasosuranam prasadake nutna ivasvamedem hriде tvaya arshvasat surendraha tvam dushtu kesava namadeyam कंसायदे सौरि सुदत्वमुक्त्वां तं दत्वदोक्तं प्रदुत्यवासं प्राब्देन केसि शबाणवासाने श्रीनारदनत्वमभिष्टुदोभूः.
The second line, केशि शपनावसाने.
केशि शबनावसाने श्रीनारदेन तमभिष्टुदोभूः. Can I continue 8 and 9? Or,
no, I think we haven't finished, right?
We are not finished. Yeah, we are not finished.
Yeah, we are not finished. I think we're 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, okay. Let me just see who I had today. Anu, you can be a student, and Baiju, you can be a student. Okay, stanza 8. कदापि गोपैः सह काननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राप दुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरोपरोधि. In the last class, we saw a few things, right? We saw about a person called Keshi who came in the form of a horse. So because of which Krishna is called Keshava, because the one who got rid of Keshi. We also saw a little bit of the conversation between Narada and Kamsa, which I'll say again when we start to 72nd. So this is what the next three stanzas are the last Leela that's going to happen in Vrindavan, because now Krishna is going to leave Vrindavan. So this is the last Leela. So that same day, right after Keshi was gotten rid of, there was a person called Vyoma Sura. So Vyoma, the name, is a son of the person Maya, who's like an art who creates a lot of illusions. So this person can create illusions. So this Vyoma Sura, as the boys were grazing the cows and everything on that, that day they were playing a game. The game was that one person is some boys act as cows or calves, another boys act as the people who steal those cows or calves, and there's another set of boys who act as a police. So they were kind of playing that game. So, and then they were just generally playing that game when this Vyomasura ends up appearing there. Kadapi gopaihi, put a is gopais, saha kananante, comma, nilayana kridana lolupam tvam mayatmajaha, put a F to join, mayatmajaf prapa duranta mayo, comma, vyomabhido vyoma charopa rodhi, long E. Kadapi gopais सह काननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राप दुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरोपरोधि.
कदापि गोपैः सह गहननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राभतुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरो भरोति. कदापि गोपैः सह गहननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राभतुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरो भरोति.
कदापि गोपैः सह काननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राप दुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरोपरोधि. कदापि गोपैः सह काननान्ते निलायन क्रीडनलोलुपं त्वां मयात्मजः प्राप दुरन्तमायो व्योमाभिदो व्योमचरोपरोधि.
That's a 9. Sachorapalayitavallabeshu chorayito gopashishun pashumscha guhasu krutvapi dadhe shilabihi tvaya sabhudva parimardito bhute. So that Vyomasura, who came in the form of one of those Gopa boys, so he ended up acting like one of those thieves, because the thieves were like trying to steal without the police seeing. That was the game they were playing. So he ended up abducting a lot of these boys and all of those things, pretending to be a thief, and then ended up putting them into a cave. So finally only like a handful of boys were actually left playing the game. So at that time, when Krishna comes to know about it, then he goes in, and then the Vyomasura had covered the cave with a big rock or a big boulder, and then Krishna goes in, he comes to find about it, he then goes and frees the boys from that and also gets rid of Vyomasura. That was one of the last other thing, Leela is happening here, where the another person is gotten rid of, Vyomasura is gotten rid of, and the boys get freed. Sa chora palayita vallaveshu, chorayito gopa shishun pashumscha, along with the cows. He stole the boys and the cows, pashumscha. Guhasu kritva pidadhe shilabihi. That is goes away, put a visargan comma, shilabihi. Tvayacha bhudva parimardhito bhut. One word. Sachorapalayitavallabeshu chorayito gopashishun pashumscha guhasu kritva pidadhe shilabihi tvaya cha buddhva parimardito bhut.
सचोरबालायितवल्लवेषु चोरायितो को बशिशून् पशुंश्च गुहासु कृत्वा पिदते शिलाभिः त्वया च भूत्वा परिमर्दितोऽभूत् सचोरबालायितवल्लवेषु चोरायितो को बशिशून् पशुंश्च गुहासु कृत्वा पिदते शिलाभिः त्वया च भूत्वा परिमर्दितोऽभूत्
सचोरपालायितवल्लवेषु चोरायितो गोपशिशून् पशुंश्च गुहासु कृत्वा पितते शिलाभिः त्वया च बुद्ध्वा परिमर्दितोऽभूत् सचोरपालायितवल्लवेषु चोरायितो गोपशिशून् पशुंश्च गुहासु कृत्वा पितते शिलाभिः त्वया च बुद्ध्वा परिमर्दितोऽभूत्.
One second. Evam vidaischaddbhutakelibhedaihi anandamurcham atulam brajasya pade pade nutanayan nasimam paratma rupin pavane shapayah. This way, Krishna, the Braja Bhumi, which is the region of Vrindavan, Mathura, that Bhumi which is called Braja Bhumi, you then ended up doing different kinds of Leela when you were in your time in Vrindavan. For the brief amount of time you were there, everything was unique in its own way. You kept refreshing the Leelas you were doing so people don't get bored. So as these people were coming in the form of Keshi, or somebody's coming from of Aghasura, or somebody is coming, a Shankachuda, or Kali and Ardhanam. So the various different leelas that happened, you ended up keeping these people engaged and then connected to you, and then giving them, something to be always looking forward to, or engaging with you. This Ugrarapa, please eradicate my ailments also. Evam vidhaish chadbhuta keli bhedaihi. The ra that is there goes away, visarga comma bhedaihi. Next word starts with the a. Ananda murcham atulam, just breaking at that ma. Murcham atulam brajasya pade pade nutana yennasimam, comma, one word, paratma rupin pavanesha payaha. Evam vidhaischadbhutakeli anandamurcham atulam brajasya pade pade nutanayennasimam paratma rupin pavanesha payaha.
एवं विदैश्चात्बुधकेलिभेदैः आनन्दमोचा मधुलां व्रजस्य पदे पदे नूदनयन्त सीमां परात्मरूपेण पवनेशपायाः एवं विदैश्चात्बुधकेलिभेदैः आनन्दमोचा मधुलां व्रजस्य पदे पदे नूदनयन्त सीमां परात्मरूपेण पवनेशपायाः.
Payaha.
Oh, okay, पायाः.
एवं विदैश्चाद्भुतकेलिभेदैः आनन्दमूर्छाम् अतुलां व्रजस्य पदे पदे नूतनयन्न सीमां परात्मरूपिन् पवनेशपायाः एवं विदैश्चाद्भुतकेलिभेदैः आनन्दमूर्छाम् अतुलां व्रजस्य पते पते नूतनयन्न सीमां परात्मरूपिन् पवनेशपायाः.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Okay, Dasakam 72. The title is Akrurasya Gokula Yatra Varnanam. Gokulam is referred loosely. He's going to come to Vrindavan, but that region is generally called Gokulam, Gokula, Vrindavan, all of that region. Stanza 1. Kamsotanaradagirā brajavasinam tvam akarnyadhirna hridaya sahi gandhineyam ahūya karmukamakachhalato bhavantam ānetumena mahinot ahinathashayin. So now, like I was telling last time, like when the conversation between Narada and Kamsa, it's like that's when the movie is taking a turn. Finally the villain comes. So here, like it's a little bit continuation of that. So Narada went and told Kamsa, saying that the two children that the primary person, eighth born child that you're looking for, He's nowhere. He's the person who is called Krishna, who is there in Vrindavan. He's along with his brother. He's with that same Nanda Gopa who you know very well, and Yashoda. And Vasudeva and Devaki tricked you. He tells all of these things. So Kamsa then first thing he does is he says, okay, I'm going to put Vasudeva and Devaki. He first tries to kill Vasudeva and Devaki, but Kamsa says, what is the use of killing Vasudeva and Devaki? Because that's not your primary target. Your primary target is Krishna. So he then ends up putting Vasudeva and Devaki in jail. And then he then comes up with a very elaborate plan. So the first plan he does is he calls on his very trusted person called as Akrura. So this is going to be a character who's getting introduced here. He's going to come multiple times in Krishna Avataram. So this person called Akrura, he introduces him and says, he's like a big minister or whatever. So he tells him that I want you to go to Vrindavan. I want you to go to Nandagopa's house and then go tell the two boys who are there, Krishna and Balarama, along with Nandagopa, along with all of them, and tell them that there is a bow festival which is going to be happening in a few days, a big festival which is actually happening. So I want you to go invite them and ensure that everybody comes, and you specifically, Akrura, have to bring Krishna and Balarama along with you, so that he wants to make sure that they don't slip out, or they don't end up not coming. So I want you to specifically go bring Krishna and Akrura. That is the first thing. The second thing he says is he calls on two of his wrestlers called Chanura and Mushtika, and he tells them that when these two boys come on the day of the bow festival, there is going to be a wrestling match that's going to take place, which is already arranged. So he says this Chanura and Mushtika are big wrestlers. So he says, if these boys ever come there, I want you to essentially wrestle with them, because I'm going to order you to wrestle with them. And in the process, I want you to kill them, right? If they end up surviving all the other things he's going to plan. So when you interact with them, I want you to kill them. Then third, he calls on his Mahoot, the person who takes care of the elephant. And there is an elephant called Kuvalaya Pida. And he tells that Mahoot that I want you to make sure that Kuvalaya Pida is standing before even the boys enter into the arena. And then essentially that I want the elephant to trample these two boys and get rid of these two boys. And then that's when he says, he also goes and sends Keshi. Remember last Dashakam I told he sends Keshi over. So he's planning all these things. He's first sending Keshi over to go to see if the Keshi can get rid of Krishna. If Keshi cannot get rid of Krishna, then Akrura is going to be going and bringing them back, bringing them to Mathura. And once Akrura brings them to Mathura, next day Kuvalaya Pida, the elephant, is going to be standing in front. If they even escape Kuvalaya Pida, then Chanura and Mushtika are going to get rid of this. So he puts all these multiple plans, in place to get rid of Krishna and Balarama. And then he says that once Krishna and Balarama are gotten rid of, the next target is Vasudeva and Devaki. And after that is his own father, Ugrasena, who he feels like cheated on him with all of these things. And he's going to jail and kill everybody and essentially take over. So that is Kamsa's plan. That's what he lays it out. Kamsota Narada Gira Braja Vasinam Twam, put im at the end of the line, comma, Twam. Next line, Makarnya becomes Akarnya. Akarnya Dirna Hridayaha, put a is to join Hridayas. Sahi Gandhineyam. Gandhineyam is Akrura. Gandhineyam means son of Gandhini. That's the name of his mother. So his mother's name is Gandhi. His name is Gandhineyam. Ahuya Karmuka Makach Chalato Bhavantam, put a im at the end of that line, comma. Next line, Ma becomes A. So I'm going to break this into 5 different words, that long sentence there.
Sorry, Chalato kapram comma va?
Chalato Bhavantam and then comma.
Okay, Bhavantam.
Anetum im enam, again im, ahinot. So the that is there, breaking into it and a, ahinot, ahinatha, shayin. So that is like 5 words. Anetum enam ahinot ahinatha shayin. It will be easy to say it. Kamsota narada gira brajavasinam twam akarnya dhirna hridaya sahi gandhineyam ahuya karmukamakachhalato bhavantam anetum enam ahinot ahinatha shayin.
Narada gira brajavasinam twam akarmyatirna hridayas sahi kantineyam आहूय कार्मुगमगच्चलतोपवन्तम् आनेदुमेन महिनोत् शायेन् कंसोदनारदकिराव्रजवासिनं त्वाम् आकर्ण्यदीर्णहृदयस्य हि कान्तिनेयम् आहूय कार्मुगमगच्चलतोपवन्तम् आनेदुमेन महिनोत् शायेन्
कंसोधनारदगिरा व्रजवासिनं त्वाम् आकर्ण्यदीर्णहृदयस्य हिर्गान्तिनेयम् आहूय कार्मुकमकच्छलतो भवन्तम् आनेतुयेन अहिनोद् अहिनाथ शायिन्
Anetum im sound. Last line.
Okay. Thank you. कंसोधनारदगिरा व्रजवासिनं त्वाम् आकर्ण्यदीर्णहृदयस्य हि गान्तिनेयम् आहूय कार्मुकमखच्छलतो भवन्तम् आनेतुमेन अहिनोद् अहिनाथ शायिन्.
Stanza 2. अक्रूरहेश भवदङ्घ्रिपरश्चिराय त्वद्दर्शनाक्षममनाः क्षितिपालभीत्या तस्याज्ञयैव पुनरीक्षितुमुद्यतस्त्वाम् आनन्दभारमतिभूरितरं भभार. So this Akrura is indirectly like Krishna's uncle. He marries the sister of Devaki. So Devaki's sister is Akrura married. So he's kind of connected to Krishna, right? And so at that time, there were very few people who kind of knew that Krishna is not an ordinary person, and Akrura is one of those people. So he's heard about it, and he had a feeling that this is not a normal person. He doesn't know it is God, right? But he knows that it's not a normal person. It's a special person who has actually taken birth, and he's always been wanting to meet this Krishna. But Kamsa was like a dictator, right? So people cannot just leave and go wherever they want. Akrura is the minister of Kamsa, so he can't just go say, "Oh, I want to go see Krishna," and go see. He's been always wanting to go meet Krishna, but he was always afraid of whether he can actually go and whether Kamsa would allow. So when Kamsa tells Akrura that you need to go and bring Krishna, right? So at that time he feels very blessed. He says, like, this is like perfect. I've been not able to go because I'm afraid of this guy, and this guy himself is now telling me that I need to go bring Krishna. So he gets very excited about it. Now the way the sequence of days happens is, because it's there in Bhagavatam, it goes into so much detail. On an Ekadashi day is when Kamsa is telling Akrura and Chanura, Mushtika, Kuvalaya Pida, Keshi. He communicates all of this Kamsa on the Ekadashi day, on the 11th day. On the Dwadashi day, the second day, is where Akrura leaves for Vrindavan, which is going to come. And that's also the same day where Krishna kills Keshi. That's also the same day where Narada meets Krishna in Vrindavan. All of that is happening on the second day. The Dasakam doesn't necessarily flow in sequence, but I'm telling you the timeline. So the 12th day is where all of that happens. 13th day is where Krishna is going to come to Mathura. And the Chaturdashi, the 14th day, is where Kamsa is going to die, where the bow festival is going to happen. So all the things that we're going to see in 71, 72, 73, 74, and 75, right? All the things that we're going to see is all happening in a matter of like those 4 days, right? Where the sequence of events are going to be happening. So Akrura Esha Bhavadangri Parashchiraya, Tvad-darshanakshama manaha. So you should say that visarga. Manaha kshitipala bhitya tasyagnyayeva punarikshitum, breaking at that ma, punarikshitum udyatas tvam, put a im at the end of that line, tvam, comma. Next line, the ma becomes a. Ananda bharamati bhuritaram bhabara. Akruhesh bhavadangri parashchiraya twaddarshanakshamamanaha kshitipalabhitya tasyagnyayeva punarikshitumudyatastvam ananda bharamati bhuritaram bhabara.
अक्रूरयेष भवतन्त्रिपरश्चिराय त्वद्दर्शनाक्षममनाः क्षितिपालभीत्या तस्यान्ययैव पुनरीक्षितुमुद्यतस्त्वाम् आनन्दभारमधिपूरितरं पबार अक्रूरयेष भवतङ्कृपरश्चिराय त्वद्दर्शनाक्षममनाः क्षितिपालभीत्या तस्यान्ययैव पुनरीक्षितुमुद्यतस्त्वाम् आनन्दभारमधिपूरितरं पबार
अक्रूर एष भवतङ्कृपरश्चिराय त्वद्दर्शनाक्षममनाः क्षितिपालभीत्या तस्याज्ञैव पुनरीक्षितुमुद्यतस्त्वाम् आनन्दभारमधिपूरितरं बभार अक्रूर एष भवतङ्कृपरश्चिराय त्वद्दर्शनाक्षममनाः क्षितिपालभीत्या तस्याज्ञैव पुनरीक्षितुमुद्यतस्त्वाम् आनन्दभारमधिपूरितरं बभार.
Stanza 3. सोऽयं रथेन सुकृती भवतो निवासं गच्छन् मनोरथगणां स्त्वयि धार्यमानान् आस्वादयन् मुहुरपाय भयेन दैवं सम्प्रार्थयन् पति न किञ्चिदपि व्यजानात्. So that night, Ekadashi night, which is when comes Ekadashi is when Kamsa tells Akrura, right? So that night, Akrura just cannot sleep because he's so much looking forward to the trip that he's actually going to be making. The next morning, Akrura now decides to leave. He decides to go from Mathura to Vrindavan, right? And then he thinks to himself, I'm just trying to see the word, what good deeds he thinks, what I must have done something really good in this life or the previous life. I must have either given a lot of charity or I might have done a lot of good work because of which I'm getting this great opportunity. And he feels like he's not even, it's a blessing. Like sometimes that's what I said, very few people know about Krishna's potency, right? So he feels like I don't even deserve because I'm so materialistic, but I'm getting this great opportunity to go and meet with Krishna and then bring him back in the thing. And he says all the sins that he has committed, he feels like, it's all eradicated. Akrura hates Kamsa, but he feels like I'm actually thankful to Kamsa now because Kamsa is officially sending me as a messenger who is going to escort Krishna back, right? Now, of course, he's worried about what's going to happen to Krishna as well, but he thinks that at least he's the person who's going and bringing Krishna back and he's going to interact with him. So he's really looking forward to it. And then Akrura decides to leave on that Dwadashi day morning. Soyam Rathena Sukruti. Su is always means good in Sanskrit. So Krita is to do. So Sukruti means someone who has done good deeds. Sukruti Bhavato Nivasam, Gachan Manoratha Ganams Tvai Dharyamanan Aswadayan Muhurapaya Bayena Daivam, put a plus, Samprartayan Pati na Kinchidapi Vyajanat. So as he's going through, he's not noticing anything. He's just constantly thinking. He's not even looking out to see what is on the way.
Rajeshji, third line solrela.
Aswadayan Muhurapaya Bhayena Daivam, and then put a plus there. The next line comes together. Sohyam Rathena Sukruti Bhavato Nivasam Gachan Mano Rataganam Stvai Dharyamanan Aswadayan Muhurapaya Bhayena Daivam Samprartayan Patina Kinchidapi Vyajanat.
Soyam Radena Sukriti Bhavato Nivasam Kachan Manoradhaganam Svaitaryamanan Aswadayan Muhurapaya Bayena Daivam Samprartayan Padina Kinchidapi Vyajanat. Soyam Radena Sukriti Bhavato Nivasam Kachan Manoradhaganam Svaitaryamanan Aswadayan Muhurabhaya Bayena Daivam Samprartayan Padina Kinchidapi Vyajanat.
सोऽयं रतेन सुकृती भवतो निवासं गच्छन् मनोरथगणां स्तुयिधार्यमाणान् आस्वादयन् मुहुरपाय भयेन दैवं सम्प्रार्थयन् पदि न किञ्चिदभिव्यजानात् सोऽयं रतेन सुकृती भवतो निवासं गच्छन् मनोरथगणां स्तुयिधार्यमाणान् आस्वादयन् मुहुरपाय भयेन दैवं सम्प्रार्थयन् पदि न किञ्चिदभिव्यजानात्
द्रक्ष्यामि वेदशतगीतगतिं पुमांसं स्प्रक्ष्यामि किं स्विदपि नाम परिष्वजेयम् किं वक्ष्यते स खलु मां क्वनु वीक्षितः स्यात् इत्थं निनाय स भवन्मयमेव मार्गम्. So, like if you're going to Ilayaraja concert or A.R. Rahman concert, or if a teen is going to Taylor Swift concert, then you always think about it, saying, oh, when I go there, how is it going to be? Will I get a chance to take a picture with that person? Will I get a chance to touch that person or go near that? That's what Akrura is thinking, saying that I'm so blessed to be able to go there, but how will it be when I go there, right? Because he's riding in his chariot, he's thinking about this, saying, will I get a chance to sprakshyami? Say, will I even get a chance to touch this person, Krishna, who I'm going to meet? Will this Krishna person, will he embrace me, right? Will I be blessed to embrace me? Kim Bakshyate, what will he talk to me? Like, what will he say to me? What will he say to me when I meet him? And then, Kim Kwanu Vikshitaha. So when I go there and I enter Vrindavan, what will he be doing? So he's just thinking forward, right? Like, oh, when I go there, what will Krishna be doing when I go? So, and then he thinks that, what I need to do is when I actually go there to Vrindavan and then I get down from the chariot and I see Krishna and Balarama there, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a full namaskaram to them because, they're such great personalities. So I'm getting a chance to meet there. And then, Krishna hopefully will then, when I fall on his feet, because when you fall on a feet, it's a matter of surrender, right? So because Krishna doesn't know Akrura, right? Because he's not met him. So when I suddenly go fall on somebody's feet, then that person will not feel threatened by me, right? Then Krishna naturally will hold me, lift me up, and then he will feel not unthreatened, and then will communicate with me. And then he hopes that Krishna doesn't consider Akrura as an enemy because Akrura is really coming to take Krishna back to Kamsa, right? So he's worried that what if Krishna actually finds out the true reason why I've actually come? Then is Krishna going to feel upset with me? So all these thoughts are running through his head, right? And he's constantly thinking about it as to how it will be when he actually ends up going there to Vrindavan. Drakshyami Veda Shata Gita Gatim Pumamsam, Sprakshyami kim svidapi nama parishvajeyam kim vakshyate sa khalu mam kwanu vikshitaha, put is vikshitas syat, put it, comma. Next word dittam becomes ittam. Itham ninayasa bhavan mayameva margam. Drakshyami vedashatagitagatim pumhamsam sprakshyami kim svidapi nama parishvajeyam kim vakshyate sakhalu mam kwanu vikshita syat itham ninayasa bhavan mayameva margam.
So Rajeshji, in the third and fourth line together, yeah, plus.
No, and the vikshita syat, and it put a comma there after the syat.
Syat kapur comma, okay.
Yeah.
Rakshami Veda Shadagidakadim Pumamsam Sprakshami Kim Svidapi Nama Parishvajeyam Kim Vakshadesa Kalumam Kwanu Vikshidasyat Ittam Ninaya Sabhavan Mayameva Margam Rakshami Veda Shadagidakadim Pumamsam Sprakshami Kim Vidapinama Parishvajeyam Kim Vakshade Sakalumam Kwanu Vikshitasyat Ittam Ninaya Sabhavanmayameva Margam.
द्रक्ष्यामि वेदशतगीतगतिं पुमांसं स्प्रक्ष्यामि किं स्विदपि नाम परिष्वजेयम् किं वक्ष्यते स खलु मां क्वनु वीक्षितः स्यात् इत्थं निनाय स भवन्मयमेव मार्गम् द्रक्ष्यामि वेदशतगीतगतिं पुमांसं स्प्रक्ष्यामि किं स्वीतभिनाम परिष्वजेयं किं वक्ष्यते स खलु मां क्वनु वीक्षितः स्यात् इत्थं निनाय स भवन्मयमेव मार्गम्.
We'll just switch halfway. I might have to end the class like 5 minutes earlier today. So, okay, second half. Let's see who I had. Devi, you can be a student, and Suganya, you can be a student. भूयः क्रमादभिविशन् भवदङ्घ्रिपूतं वृन्दावनं हरविरिञ्च सुराभिवन्द्यम् आनन्दमग्न इव लग्न इव प्रमोहे किं दशान्तरमवापन पङ्कजाक्ष. Some of these stanzas are so beautiful. It talks about the greatness of Vrindavan, which I'll tell in the next stanza. So as Akrura, then finally he enters Vrindavan. He enters that area, right? He says, and then Bhattacharya says that this place, which is Bhavat Angri, Angri is feet, Bhavat Angri Putam. He says this region, which is completely sanctified, Krishna, because of you walking in Vrindavan all the time. That's there's a great Punya Kshetram that is there because of you. So, and that's a place where also Hara refers to Shiva, because Shiva also ends up coming and meeting Krishna in Vrindavan, but it is not there in Narayaneeyam. So Shiva, then Virincha, Brahma visited there, right, when he came and stole all the boys and the calves and everything. So all of these people have come there, visited you. Narada came and visited you. So it's such a great place. It's a pious place. So as Akrura comes there, he's just in a state of bliss. And say, Kim Dashantaram, what all states of ecstasy did he not attain? By just being there, he felt extremely happy and blissful just to enter into that area of Vrindavan. Bhuyaha, put a ich. Bhuyah, kramat abhivishan. If you want to break it, that kramat abhivishan. Bhavadangri putam, comma. Vrindavanam hara virincha surabhivandyam. Ananda magna iva lagna iva pramohe, comma. Kim dashantaramavapa na pankajaksha. Bhuya.
Rajesh, the Brindavana
V sound. V.
Okay.
Vrinda. Bhuya kramadabhivishan bhavadangriputam Vrindavanam haravirincha surabhivandyam Anandamagna iva lagna iva pramohe Kim dashantaramavapana pankajaksha.
भूयक्रमादभिविशन् भवदङ्घ्रिभूतम् वृन्दावनं हरविरिञ्च सुराभिवन्द्यम् आनन्दमग्न इव लग्न इव प्रमोहे किं दशान्तरमवापन पङ्कजाक्ष भूयक्रमादभिविशन् भवदङ्घ्रिभूतम् वृन्दावनं हरविरिञ्च सुराभिवन्द्यम् आनन्दमग्न इव लग्न इव प्रमोहे किं दशान्तरमवापन पङ्कजाक्ष.
भूयः क्रमादभिविशन् भवदङ्घ्रिभूतं वृन्दावनं हरविरिञ्च सुराभिवन्द्यम् आनन्दमग्न इव लग्न इव प्रमोहे किं दशान्तरमवापन पङ्कजाक्ष भूयः क्रमादभिविशन् भवदङ्घ्रिभूतं वृन्दावनं हरविरिञ्च सुराभिवन्द्यम् आनन्दमग्न इव लग्न इव प्रमोहे किं दशान्तरमवापन पङ्कजाक्ष.
And the first word bhuyaha, and the visarga takes a H sound. So bhuyah kramat.
Bhuyah, okay.
And the second word is vrindavanam, not br. Change it to pa. Okay.
Okay. Vrindavan.
Stanza 6. Pashyanna vandada bhavat vihrtistalhani pamsu swaveshtata bhavat charanangriteshu Kim brumahe bahujana hi tadapi jataha evam tu bhakti tarala virala paratman. So the importance of Vrindavan, right? Not we spoken about it in the past, but I want to just say a few stanzas which is there in the beginning of Bhagavatam, right? Where Narada says this. I'm just going to look here and read it. Narado vacha aham tu prithivim yato nyatva sarvotamamiti pushkaram cha prayagam cha kashim godavarim tata harikshetram kurukshetram Srirangam setu bandhanam evamadishu tirteshu Brahmamana itastataha. So Narada says at one point, when he beginning of Bhagavatam, he says, I came down to Prithvi, I came down to earth one day during Kali Yugam. And he says, I roamed all over the earth. So he says, I went to Pushkaram. I went to Prayagam. I went to Kashi. I went to the banks of Godavari. I went to Harikshetram, and then I went to Haridwar. I went to Kurukshetram. I went to Srirangam. I went to Setu Bandhanam. I went to Rameshwaram. I went to all these places which are Punya Sthalam. But in Kali Yugam, he says bhakti was still not ripe in any of those places. He says in Kali Yugam, the place where bhakti was still ripe. He says later on, he says, Na pashyam kutrachis sharma. He says, I went to all these places. Manas santosha karana. People were still sad in all those places. And they could not realize this, how satisfaction or happiness is in all of this is. And then he says, finally, I come to Vrindavan. And when I come to Vrindavan in Kali Yugam, I see Bhakti Devi sitting there. So because this whole thing about this Gopikas in a few more chapters left on it, and later it's going to come, is in all these places in Vrindavan, you don't have a big deity. In Srirangam, you have Ranganatha, right? He's the Kula Devata of Sri Rama, right? You have a great Ranganatha is there, Rameshwaram, all these places, you have great gods, temples who you have there, right? So of course there was a Punya Sthalam, no doubt about it, right? There are a lot of things that happen there. Vrindavan, there's no temple as such, right? Vrindavan became popular only because of Krishna, right? So, but before that, Vrindavan did not have this no big temple like Rameshwaram or Srirangam or anything. But Vrindavan is bhakti is there only because the people who are there are so devoted, which were the people who lived around the time of Krishna, the Gopikas, and that bhakti still continues. So he says, although there is no big place like Haridwar or Kurukshetra or Rameshwaram or all these things, it's not a big place, like big temples are there. Bhakti still resides in Vrindavan because of Krishna being there during Kali Yuga, before Kali Yuga. So anyway, so as this person Akrura comes there, the first thing he does is he enters Vrindavan, right? He then gets down and he rolls in the mud of Vrindavan because he says, this is the place where Krishna has walked and he spent his childhood. So I want to make sure that the sand which Krishna's feet has touched is sticking to my body. So he ends up rolling on the muds of Vrindavan. That is how he's getting into that place, and then but he says, Evan to Bhakti Tarala, even in those days, there are only very few people who are so devoted, and they're so attached to these things. And Akrura is one of those personalities. There's going to be one more person who's going to come later called Uddhava, but right now it's Akrura. Pashyanna vandata bhavat vihriti sthalani, pamsusvaveshtata, cannot break that word, pamsusvaveshtata bhavaj charanankiteshu kim bhrumahe bahujana hi tadapi jataha, add a visarga, jataha, evam tu bhakti tarala viralaha, put a F to join, viralaf paratman. Pashyan navandata bhavat vihriti sthalani pamsusvaveshtata bhavat charanankiteshu kim bhrumahe bahujana hi tadapi jataha evam tu bhakti tarala viralaf paratman.
पश्यन्न वन्दद भवति विहृतिस्थलानि पांसुष्ववेष्टद भवच्चरणाङ्गितेषु किं ब्रूमहे बहुजना हि तदापि जातः एवं तु भक्तितरला विरला परात्मन्.
Last word is jataha, third line, tadapi jataha.
Tadapi jataha. Okay. पश्यन्न वन्दद भवद्विहृदि स्तनानि पांसुष्वेष्टद भवच्चरणाङ्गितेषु किं ब्रूमहे बहुजना हि तदापि जाताः एवं तु भक्तितरला विरलाः परात्मन्
पश्यन्नवन्तद पवद्विहृदि स्थलानि पांसुष्वेष्टद पवच्चरणाङ्गिदेषु किं ब्रूमहे बहुजना हि तदापि जादाः एवं तु भक्तितरला विरला परात्मन् पश्यन्नवन्तदा पवद्विहृदि स्थलानि पांसुष्वेष्टद पवच्चरणाङ्गिदेषु किं ब्रूमहे हि बहुशान हि तदापि जादाः एवं तु भक्तितरला विरला परात्मन्.
That's a 7. सायं स गोपभवनानि भवच्चरित्रगीतामृतप्रसृतकर्णरसायनानि पश्यन् प्रमोदसरितेव किलोह्यमानो गच्छन् भवद्भवनसन्निधिमन्वयासीत्. So now when you go to like any place, Tirupati or Guruvayur or any place, right? Now, up to a particular point, you'll feel like it's just any other road or any other city. But the moment you enter into it, suddenly the scene changes, right? Suddenly you'll see devotional songs everywhere. You'll see pictures of the appropriate Balaji everywhere, people talking about it, fragrances, all of that stuff. You go to Guruvayur, you'll suddenly see Yesudas songs everywhere. That the mood completely changes, right? When you enter into that spot. So that's how he's feeling. The moment he entered into Vrindavan, which he reaches by Bhavan, evening means I think at that time, evening used to be earlier because it gets dark. So when whatever time he's reaching there, he's suddenly beginning to feel that ambience there, right? He's seeing all these people there, the Gopas there, he's seeing Gopikas, people are talking about Krishna. Somehow that atmosphere and that region itself had that level of piousness to it, right? That he's beginning to feel that, okay, I'm in a special place right now. He is beginning to experience it, and then he's really looking forward to going and meeting. Sayam sa Gopa Bhavanani Bhavach Charitra means talking about you. Bhavach Charitra, put a plus. Geetamrita Prasrita Karna Rasayanani means every time he hears people talking about Krishna, then it is like a nectar to his ear. So he's constantly, everyone he meets is talking about that. So those two lines are together. Pashyan Pramoda Sariteva Kilohyamano half Kilohyamano, comma Gachan Bhavat Bhavana Sannidhim, breaking at that ma Sannidhim Anvayasit. Sayam sa Gopa Bhavanani Bhavacharitra Geetamrita Prasruta Karna Rasayanani Pashyan Pramoda Sariteva Kilohyamano Gachan Bhavat Bhavana Sannidhimanvayasit.
सायं स गोपा भवनानि भवच्चरित्र गीतामृत प्रसिद्ध कर्णरसायनानि. I don't know, I think I lost the rhythm there.
Bhavacharitra Geetamrita Prasruta Karna Rasayanani.
भवच्चरित्र गीतामृत प्रसिद्ध कर्णरसायनानि पश्यन् प्रमोद सरितेव किलोह्यमानो गच्छन् भवत्पवन सन्निधं मन्यसायित्.
Sannidhim
मन्यसायित्.
Anvayasit.
Okay. अन्वयासीत्. सायं स गोपा भवनानि भवच्चरित्र गीतामृत प्रसृत कर्णरसायनानि पश्यन् प्रमोद सरितेव किलोह्यमानो गच्छन् भवन सन्निधम् अन्वसायित्.
Again, the last word, Sannidhim
Sannidhim anyasayit.
Anba yasit.
Anvayasit.
Yes, sannidhim anvayasit.
सायं स गोपभवनानि पवचरित्रगीतामृतप्रसृतकर्णरसायनानि पश्यन् प्रमोद हरिदेव किलोह्यमानो गच्छन् पवन सन्निधिम् अनवयाशीत् अन्वयाशीत्
Third
शाय
line, Sukanya, one second. Pramoda, adukku adutha word. After Pramoda, it is Sariteva.
सरिदेव ओके शायं शगोप पवनानि पवचरित्र गीतमृत प्रसृत कर्णरसायनानि पश्यन् प्रमोद सरिदेव किलोह्यमानो गच्छन् पवन सन्निधिम् अन्वयाशीत्.
That's it. Tavat dadarsh pashudoha bilokalolam bhaktotamagatimeva pratipalayantam bhuman bhavantamayamagrajavantamantah brahmanubhuti rasa sindhum ivodvamantam. So finally he enters into the Sannidhi, which means he enters into the area where the house of Nandagopa is. When he comes there, he actually sees Krishna and Balarama. Both of them, they're young boys, right? Krishna is 10 years old at this time. So, and Balarama is probably a little more than that. So he sees these two boys evening time. So they are because they all have cows everywhere. So they're watching people milking the cows. That's where Krishna and Balarama is. And it felt like Krishna was expecting. It seemed like he was already expecting Akrura to come. So when Akrura actually sees that, for him, it felt like all this, the last sentence there, it's really telling that everything that he thought about, because Akrura is also a very educated person, so knowledgeable person. So everything he thought about what this Brahman is, all the philosophy that he actually had, that he had knowledge about, he felt that has taken a form and standing in front of him. And that's what he actually sees there when he reaches their house. Tavat dadarsha pashu doha biloka lolam, comma, bhaktotam, breaking at that ma, bhaktotam agatimiva pratipalayantam bhuman. So the next word, I'm going to break at the mas, wherever the ma is, then it will be easy. Bhuman bhavantam ayam agrajavantamantah. That word is long. Agrajavantamantah. Add a visarga at the end of that line, comma. Next line, if you have a ir, that goes away. Brahmanubhuti rasa sindhum, breaking at that ma, sindhum ivodvamantam. Tavad dadarsha pashudoha bilokalolam bhaktotamagatim iva pratipalayantam bhuman bhavantam ayamagrajavantamantah brahmanubhuti rasa sindhum ivodvamantam.
तावद्ददर्श पशुदोह विलोकलोलं भक्तोत्तं आगदमीव प्रतिपालयन्दं भुवन् भवन्दमयमग्रजव अन्धमन्दः ब्रह्मानुभूतिरसिन्धुमिवोद्वमन्दम्.
Last word, Brahmanubhuti rasa sindhum.
ब्रह्मानुभूतिरससिन्धुमिवोद्वमन्दम् तावद्ददर्श पशुदोह विलोकलोलं भक्तोत्तमम् आगतीव प्रतिपालयन्दम् भुवन् भयन्दमयमग्रजवन्दमन्दः ब्रह्मानुभूतिरससिन्धुमिवोद्वमन्दम्.
Second line, first word, Bhaktotam agatimiva.
Bhaktotam agatamiva.
Agatimiva.
Oh, agatimiva. Okay.
Yeah.
तावत्तदर्श पशुदोहविलोहलोलं भक्तोत्तम आगतिमिव प्रतिपालयन्तं भूमन् भवन्तम् अयं ग्रजवन्तमन्दर्ह ब्रह्मानुभूति रसहिन्दुम् इवोत्वमन्दम्.
Yeah, last line. Rasa sindhum ivodvamantam.
सिन्धुम् इवोत्वमन्दम्. दावत्तदर्श बहुदोहविलोहलोलं भक्तोत्तम आगतिमिव प्रतिपालयन्तं भूमन् भवन्तमयम् अग्रजवन्तमन्दर्ह ब्रह्मानुभूति रसहिन्दुम् इवोत्वमन्दम्.
Again, the last is the sindhum.
सिन्धुं
Rasa
सिन्धुं रससिन्धुम् इवोत्वमन्दम्.
Answer 9. सायन्तनाप्लवविशेषविविक्तगात्रौ द्वौ पीतनीलरुचिराम्बललोभनीयौ नातिप्रपञ्चधृतभूषणचारुवेशौ मन्दस्मितार्द्रवदनौ स युवां ददर्श. He saw the two young boys there. He saw Krishna, who was dressed in Pitambaram, and at the bottom he was wearing a yellow garment. Balarama was wearing a blue garment. Both of them had very well formed eyes. Both of them were like very strong because they were like in the 10, 11 years age. So, they were looking very strong and very well built. Krishna had a very dark complexion. Balarama had a very fair complexion. And he saw that they both had just taken a shower, dressed themselves up. They were looking very fresh because the evening they had just gotten ready, right? That's the first thing he actually sees when he enters into their house there. Sayanta naplava vishesha vivikta gatrau, dvau pita neela ruchirambara lobhaniyau nati prapancha dhrita bhushana charu veshau, manda smitardra vadanau sa yuvam dadarsha. Manda smitardra means smiling faces. They both were in a very tender smiling face. Both of them were standing there. Sayantanaplava vishesha vivikta gatrau dvau pita neela ruchirambara lobhaniyau nate prapancha dhrita bhushana charu veshau mandasmitardra vadanau sa yuvam dadarsha.
सायन्दनाप्लव विशेष विविक्तगात्रौ नीलरुचिराम्बर लोभनीयौ नादिप्रपञ्चधृतभूषणचारुवेशौ मन्दस्मितार्द्रव वदनौ स युवा ददार्श.
Yuvam dadarsha.
युवां ददर्श. सायन्दनाप्लव विशेष विविक्तगात्रौ द्वौपीदनीलरुचिराम्बर लोभनीयौ नादिप्रपञ्चधृतभूषणचारुवेशौ मन्दस्मितार्द्रव वदनौ स युवां ददर्श.
शायन्तनाप्लव विशेष विविक्तगात्रौ दौपीदनीलरुचिरां लोपनीयौ नादिप्रपञ्चधृतभूषणचारुवेशौ मन्दस्मितार्द्रवदनौ स युवां ददर्श. शायन्तनाप्लव विशेष विविक्तगात्रौ दौपीदनीलरुचिरां प्रलोभनीयौ नादिप्रपञ्चधृतभूषणचारुवेशौ मन्दस्मितार्द्रवदनौ स युवां ददर्श.
Second line, first word is duvau. Va sound has to come. Duvau, be there.
Dvau, okay.
Yeah.
Dvau.
Sanchate. दूराद्रतात् समवरुह्य नमन्तमेनम् उत्ताप्य भक्तकुलमौलिमतोपगूहन् हर्षान्विताक्षरगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिं प्रगृह्य सबलोत गृहं निनेथ. So exactly like how he had planned, the moment he saw Krishna and Balarama, Akrura got down from his chariot, and the first thing he did is he went and fell like a rod, which means he actually did a full prostration, full namaskaram there. And then he was just filled with ecstasy. He had tears coming in his eyes. So because he was so happy to see both that he's been wanting to see for a really long time. So with that, Krishna and Balarama welcome Akrura, they embrace him, and then they hold his hand, Panim Pragrihya. They hold his hand and then they welcome and take him inside the house. दूराद्रतात् samavaruhya namantamenam. Put a im at the end of that line. Namantamenam, comma. Next word, the mu becomes a u. Uttapya bhakta kula maulim atopaguhan. If you want to break at that ma, maulim atopaguhan. Harshan mitakshara gira kushalanu yogi, comma. Panim pragrihya sabalota griham ninetha. दूराद्रतात् समवरुह्य नमन्तमेनम् उत्ताप्य भक्तकुलमौलिमतोपगूहन् हर्षान्विताक्षरगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिं प्रगृह्य सबलोत गृहं निनेथ.
ராஜேஷ்
Yeah.
அந்த கிரகம் நினைய போட்டிருக்கு இங்க சன்ஸ்கிருத்ல இந்த
Oh,
புக்ல.
ninetha, second tha.
Grihan or griham?
Griham.
Oh, griham.
Griham ninetha.
दूराद्रदात् समवरुह्य नमन्तमेनम् उत्थाप्य भक्तकुलमौलिकमदोऽप्यगुहन् हर्षात्मितारक्षगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिप्रगृह्य सबलोध गृहं निनेथ.
Third line. It's a harshan in sound. If you have a it, that becomes a in because of the ma later. So harshan mitakshara.
Harshan. Okay. दूराद्रदा समवरुह्य नमन्दमेनम् उत्थाप्य भक्तकुलमौलिमधोपगुहन् हर्षान्विताक्षगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिप्रगृह्य सबलोतस्गृहं निनेथ.
Yeah. Fourth line, first word, panim im sound.
दूरात्रदात् समवरुह्य नमन्तमेनम् उत्ताप्य भक्तकुलमौलिमदोपगूहन् हर्षान्विताक्षरगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिं प्रगृह्य सबलोगदगृहं निनेथ.
Fourth line, sabalotha.
Sabalota. दूरात्रदात् समवरुह्य नमन्तमेनम् उत्ताप्य भक्तकुलमौलिमतोपगूहन् हर्षान्विताक्षरगिरा कुशलानुयोगी पाणिं प्रगृह्य सबलोत गृहं निनेथ.
Griham ninetha.
गृहं निनेथ.
Stanza 11. Nandena sakamamitadarmarchayitva tam yadavam taduditam nishamayyavartam gopeshu bhupati nidesha katam nivedya nana kata birihatena nishamanaishihi. So when Akrura comes in, then he meets Nanda Gopa, he sits down, Nanda then inquires with Akrura, how's everything going, how comes are treating everybody, and then they discuss about, the usual stuff, about what's happening in Mathura and all of that stuff. Later on that evening, Akrura then, in confidence, right, he tells Krishna that, look, Narada has come. He's opened everything out, right? Kamsa knows everything. Kamsa knows who you are. Kamsa knows everything that has actually happened. How Vasudeva and Devaki have tricked, and you are the eighth son. You are going to be killing, and he's invited you all there. He's Kuvalaya Pida, the elephant, is going to be there. Chanura Mushtika is going to be there. He tells everything to Krishna and saying that, I've done my duty of telling you, but I'm supposed to take you there, right? And will bring you all along, and also to bring Nanda and everybody along. So that's what he just tells that to Krishna. And then he tells Nanda separately that Kamsa has invited all of you for the bow festival. So you all need to leave tomorrow. Remember, this is the Dwadashi day, the second day, 12th day. And then he says, tomorrow we all have to leave in the morning to Mathura. So please, all of you pack, because Kamsa specifically invited all of you for the bow festival. Nandena Sakam, breaking at that ma, Sakam, Amitadaram, again breaking at that ma, Amitadaram Archayitva, comma, Tam Yadavam Taduditam Nishamaya Vartam, Gopeshu Bhupati Nidesha Katham Nivedya, comma, Nana Kathabhiriha Tena Nishamanaishihi. So just Devi and Sugandhi, just say one time, Suganya. Okay, we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Nandena sakamamitaadaram tam yadavam taduditam nishamayya vartam gopeshu bhupati nidesha katham nivedya nana katha bhirihatena nishamanaishihi.
नन्देन साकम् अमितादरमर्चयित्वा तं यादवं तदुदितां निशमय्य वार्तां गोपेषु भूपतिनिदेश कदां निवेद्य नानाकदाभिरिह तेन निशामनैषीः.
नन्देन सागम् अमितातर अर्चयित्वा तं यादवं तदुदितां निशमय्य वार्तां गोपेषु भूपति निशेष गदां निवेद्य नाना गदा पिरिहदेन नैषीः.
Third line, Bhupati Nidesha.
Okay.
Sanchato. Chandra grihe kimuta chandra bhaga grihenu radha grihenu bhavane kimu maitra vinde dhurto vilambata ite pramadha biruchaihi ashankito nishimarut puranatha payaha. So after Akrura tells Nanda then tells all of his other people that, we all have to get ready overnight. We have to pack everything because we have to go see Kamsa tomorrow. So which means when you go, you take a lot of stuff along with him because you're going to see the king. So you have to pack everything. He orders that. And that night, Krishna is missing in action. So everybody, his friends and everybody are looking for him. All the Gopikas are looking for him. That's why he says they go to Chandra. They go to the house of Chandra. One of the Gopikas is not there. They go to Chandra Bhaga, another person's house. He's not there. They go to Radha. Radha's house is not there. Mitra Vinda, another person's house. They go look for him all night, and nobody can find where Krishna is. So he's kind of disappeared right from sight that night. This dashkam comes to an end. Guru Arpa, please eradicate my ailments. We'll see why he disappeared, because next morning he's going to leave in the next dashkam. Chandra grihe kimute Chandra bhaga grihe nu, comma, Radha grihe nu bhavane kimu maitravinde dhurto vilambata iti pramadhabhiruchaihi. Add a visargan, comma, pramadhabhiruchaihi. Next line, that Ra becomes A. Ashankito nishi marut puranatha payaha. Chandra grihe kimuta Chandra bhaga grihe nu Radha grihenu bhavane kimu maitravinde dhurto vilambata iti pramadabhiruchaihi ashankito nishimarut puranatha payaha.
Chandra grihe kimuta Chandra bhaga grihenu Radha grihenu bhavane किमु मैत्रविन्दे दुर्तो विलम्बत इति प्रमदाभिरुच्चैः आशङ्कितो निशि मरुत्पुरनादपायाः
चन्द्रागृहे किमुत चन्द्रापहागृहेनु राधागृहेनु पवने किमु मैत्रविन्दे दूर्दो विलम्बद इति प्रमादपि रुच्रैशङ्गितो निशि मरुत्पुरनादपायाहि पायाः.
The third line, pramadhabiruchaihi.
रुच्रैहि.
And the next word is ashankito.
आशङ्कितो. Okay. आशङ्कितो.
कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावलिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानां कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Rajesh ji.
Thank you, Raj.
Bye everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rajesh.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.